And we can talk a little bit more about my friend Tommy Robinson and how, in a way, he is irrational too, if the idea is to save yourself.
Yeah.
Like he was in court in the UK. I sat there and I watched the judge say to him, will you take down that video? This was shortly after you interviewed him.
Yeah.
He put up a video on Twitter. A judge said, don't do it. Don't do it. He did it.
Yeah.
He was brought before the judge. I'm switching gears now.
Yeah.
And he was in the dock, and the judge said, I'm going to give you the maximum sentence. The video had been seen 55 million times.
Yeah.
The judge said, you take it down now, I'm going to lop months.
Silenced?
That's right. And Tommy wouldn't bend the knee.
Yeah. Well, he was out of the country too, and he went back for his trial.
He went back. He was
I know,
in Spain.
we talked about that, and well, we discussed the pros and cons of him staying away or going back to face the music. Socrates, when he was sentenced to death by the Athenians, they thought he'd run. Like they told him, we're going to try you 6 months from now. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Why don't you get out of town, you troublesome old goat?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the axe is going to fall. And he went out and had a little discussion with his conscience, and it said, don't run.
Yeah. Well, I visited Tommy in Spain and came back with him on the flight because we thought he would be arrested the minute he landed. They waited a few days and they picked him up strategically so he could not attend a rally.
Oh, yeah.
And let me talk about that moment just for 1 second. Tommy has flaws, but he also has within him a gleaming diamond that is rare. And let me tell you what that is. The video had been seen 55 million times. The judge was saying, if you take it down now, you'll go home to your family months earlier. And I'll confess, I said to Tommy, I said, look, brother, you've had the most watched documentary film ever produced in the UK. That's the biggest win of all time. Take it down and don't be away from your family.
Yeah.
And I said that to him as a friend. I said, you have the biggest win you can. 55 million views? He said, no. Now it has over 150 million views. And the world is talking about it, including Elon Musk himself, who retweeted it. And see, the law isn't used to dealing with people who are not rationalizing, sort of maximizing the optimal outcome for reducing pain.
No, the optimal outcome for reducing immediate pain.
Right.
That's a big difference,
You're right.
man.
So they thought I was going to take the deal back in 2008 to let this imam have a page in the magazine rather than to fight a six-figure fight for 3 years.
Yeah.
And with Tommy, they thought he would bend the knee and take that thing down. Instead, he said, no, I'll hold fast.
Yeah.
And so he's still in the clink. By the way, they have him in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
They cleared out the whole segregation block. He's the only prisoner in there. He's in his cell 21 hours a day. He's allowed out to have a shower. He's allowed out to ride a stationary bike and to sort of a homemade gym. The rest of the time, he is in isolation. It's been over 100 days.
Right. Now, they've also forbade anyone with a social media following to visit him, which is a weird, what does that mean, a social media following?
I just got that letter.
3 people? 1,000 people?
Everyone has a social media following.
Yeah, right.
And by the way,
so it means whatever the hell they want.
A lot of his friends happen to be in them. I was scheduled to go and visit him on February 16th.
Yeah.
And I just got a letter from the prison governor saying, we understand you have a social media presence and we're not going to let you in. The trouble with that is these visitors, I'm interested to hear how he's doing.
Yeah. Do you know how he's doing?
Well, I hear from his family and and he's deteriorating.
Well, yeah, no doubt.
You cannot it is a form of mental torture. Solitary confinement is how you punish a prisoner who's already in prison.
You can punish a psychopath with solitary confinement. That's how punishing it is. You can take the most antisocial person in the world and put him in solitary, and he's social enough so that that's a punishment, right? A serious punishment.
But it's
now
limited.
They have him in a maximum security prison too.
There are murderers in that prison.
Yeah.
I visited him once before they brought in this no visitors rule.
Yeah.
And it was quite something to get through this labyrinth of doors. And I met with him early, and he was in high enough spirits in the first month. Now he's in his 4th month there.
Yeah, he's got 5 more?
That's right. And he's falling apart.
Jesus.
Here's the problem with banning visitors.
Yeah, he doesn't know what's going on, eh?
Not just that. The visitors want to visit for their own sake. I want to talk to him about certain things. I want to report back certain things on his health. But from his point of view, he needs the visitors to stay sane.
Yeah, definitely.
And he has certain visiting slots. His family cannot fill them all. His family is living a life. His kids are in school. And so I was in court when the judge meted out the sentence. The judge gave him the maximum sentence allowed by law. To be served in solitary, no such thing. Right. The killer, the Southport murderer.
Well, now, my understanding is that he requested solitary.
No, untrue.
Okay, so walk me through. Okay, so what I garnered or gleaned was that because the prison was so dangerous and was full of the sort of people, let's say, that might not be all that happy about Mr. Robinson, like the last prison he was in, where he got beat up very badly, that he needed protection. But you're telling me that's not true.
In fact, he always says, put me in the ward, put me in the wing, and I'll fend for myself, and it's on you, prison. The prison don't know what to do with them. Because you're correct to say in the UK,
because it's a civil offense, right?
That's right. He's a civil prisoner. He didn't even it wasn't a crime what he did. In the United States, you have different kinds of gangs in prison. There's the white gangs, the black gangs, the Latino gangs. You go to a gang for protection. In the UK, by far the dominant gangs are the Muslim gangs.
Right.
In fact, you convert to join.
Uh-huh.
And the thing is, Tommy Robinson is a skeptic and a critic of Islam. And anyone who would put a knife into him would be a hero in the community forever.
Yeah, right.
And so there are some ways to imprison such a man, especially if he's a civil prisoner. It's not a crime that he's in jail for. He put a video up. And let's get back to fact checkers for 1 second. Let me say this. The judge said, what you're going to put online is not admissible in court. I reject it as the truth because it was not admissible in court under these rules of civil procedure. Okay, fair enough, Judge. But that doesn't mean it's not true, and that doesn't mean it's not useful, and we don't all have to seek truth through a particular legal system where lawyers and judges determine what you're allowed to see and what you're not allowed to see. So what's happening is there's a battle between Tommy Robinson and the government of the United Kingdom over what is true. Mm-hmm. And a judge says, in my courtroom, where Tommy did not have a lawyer, where he was sort of doing homemade law, you were not allowed to bring certain evidence into the trial. And so you're not allowed to put them in a different forum where you're more adept, a social media video. How is that anything other than a brutal fact check? And when Tommy Robinson didn't accept it, solitary confinement, he'll serve 9 months in solitary. I don't know anyone other than Julian Assange who's done that. And there really is a two-tier.
Where's the prison?
It's called Wood Hill. It's in a town called Milton Keynes. It's about a 90-minute drive from Heathrow Airport. And I'm still hoping to go in. I wrote back to the prison governor just yesterday saying, look, I'll sign an NDA, which is obscene.
Right.
And this prison governor, who is she to say I can't say what Tommy said and I can't say what I see? But I want to actually put eyes on him.
Especially outside the UK.
It's just unheard of.
Yeah.
But I want to put eyes on him. I want to see how he's doing.
No, absolutely.
And they are delaying and delaying. You know what? They would like him to die in prison. And
that would be a mistake.
I think so. And what I've learned, my advice to him 3 months ago was take the video down and don't go to jail for so long. Declare victory. But his victory is magnified much more and so they don't know how to deal with him. I want to tell you one more Tommy story. And I know I talk about him a lot, but I think
I want you to
I go to the UK. I know you do too. And I think we love it for similar reasons. It's the source of our language and our culture and our history, the source of our freedoms.
English common law.
You know, I'm in love with the place.
Yep, me too.
And
absolutely.
I can't get enough. But it's also, my trips there, I call them a dystopian time machine. When I go to the UK, I see what our future will be 5 years down the road if we don't change course on matters like mass immigration that is not culturally
net
fit.
Zero.
Yeah, they're what they call ULEZ, ultra low emission zones, and the cameras.
Which means peasants don't get cars. But that's what ULEZ means. It doesn't mean you have cleaner air, folks. It means you can stay in your goddamn house and freeze to death in the dark.